His story made headlines across Connecticut and beyond. A young man whose heart was giving out.
It's no longer pumping blood to my body the way a normal heart should.
Waiting desperately for the transplant he needed to stay alive.
It was a matter of days to weeks.
You may know part of the story, but tonight we take you inside into moments never seen before.
Right now we're closing up the incisions.
Advancing Medicine, the Colby Salerno Story starts now. Good evening, I'm Denise DeCenzo. In many ways, Colby Salerno is a typical 20-something, just out of college, planning for the future, a great family, and amazing friends. But Colby is different. He has a perspective on life unlike others his age because for most of his existence, since he was a child, he's been dealing with a life-threatening heart condition. The only fix for it? A heart transplant. For the past 6 months, we've been with Colby, his family, and the doctors at Hartford Hospital who've been taking care of him while he waits for the gift of a heart. Tonight, they describe the journey in their own words.
This is Colby as a newborn. He was my first little guy. He was my man from that minute on. And I just kept looking at him and going, wow, he was really perfect.
There's birthday boy.
Pure boy, riding a two-wheeler at 3. And as we all said when he was little, living on the edge all the time, and still does. He just was always moving. He never stopped.
My name is Colby Salerno.
He was precious. He was pretty healthy, we thought. I mean, he seemed to be. We caught on by 5th grade.
Well, I guess the easiest way to put it is my whole life's kind of been leading up to this. I was definitely born with it because my disease is genetic, but I did not know about it until I was 12. I was always struggling playing soccer, running long distances and stuff, and I was misdiagnosed with sports-induced asthma. And so I kind of just still went about my business. I was on many inhalers, none of which were helping me. Taking a physical for middle school, they thought they heard something, so they sent me to a cardiologist at Connecticut Children's Medical Center, and it was there that she did the test and saw, you know, you actually have this disease, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, not sports-induced asthma.
That's a heart condition that leads to abnormal thickening of the heart walls, and that further leads eventually to burning out of the muscle and failing of the heart muscle. So he was diagnosed with at the age of 12.
When he was diagnosed, and they told him he could never play soccer again, my husband and I were really hysterical. And he was too, and he stood between the two of us and put his arms around each of us and said, "It's not worth dying over, Mom. It's not."
At 12, you know, soccer was all I knew. That's all I really loved. You know, there wasn't really much other that, I didn't care about school at that time or girls or anything like that. It was all sports, all soccer, and I was on 3 teams. So to tell me I can't do the one thing, like that was my whole world, was just like crushing. You know, it definitely changed my whole lifestyle. My group of friends changed, you know, and everything. I now had turned my direction to learning more about my heart and what was going on, and that gave me the goal of one day wanting to become a cardiologist myself. When I was 14, my thickness of my heart wall had gotten to a point that they thought it was necessary to put a defibrillator. So I have a internal surgically placed defibrillator. From there it was go about your business again, and it was just annual checkup, annual checkup, annual checkup.
And you got to go to high school without a problem?
Yep. Went to high school, college, went to St. Michael's College in Colchester, Vermont.
I had to put my faith in if something went wrong with his heart while he was at college, his defibrillator would kick in. And we knew there was a hospital close by that would take care of him, that had a good cardiac care unit.
I mean, I had horrible symptoms, I will admit. There was my sophomore year, I lived on the 4th floor of a dorm that had no elevators. And when I got up, I mean, I had to take breaks on the 2nd floor at times There was some times when I got to the 4th floor, I needed to wait like 10 minutes before I was even able to walk to my room because I just couldn't breathe. Although I knew about my disease, I was not aware of how bad it was going to get.
We thought we were going just for an ablation, where they were going to cut part of the muscle to let the blood flow come through better. And they did an echo, and he said to me, there's going to be 2 things. It's either going to be I can do the ablation, or he needs a heart transplant. As soon as that man came walking through the door, we just sunk. We just knew right then that it was going to be only a heart transplant was going to save his life.
It was like a bomb. I couldn't believe it. Doing my research, I was hoping for a different procedure. It's not to get too far into it. It's just something easy. They scrape out some thickness in your heart, and you hope to move on and feel better. So that's what I had gone there hoping for. And when he walked in and told me that's not even an option, you need a new heart, it was so much to take in.
So in September of 2010, he was listed as a, relatively speaking, stable transplant patient.
And I was listed for transplant and still continued to go about my business, waiting for the call.
He realized that he's getting sicker, but he was mentally not ready to accept this fate and come to the hospital. We recommended to him earlier, weeks before he really came to our unit, that he needed to be admitted for advanced listing for heart transplant. He showed signs of a low flow state. That means that he has not enough blood circulation to support his end organs. He became dizzy. And those patients can die suddenly at home.
Colby chose to rip off his leads in Boston and say, I'm not getting cath, I'm going home. He wanted to see his girlfriend, and Dr. Venker called me, and he made this as hard as he could say to this kid. He said, listen, your girlfriend might be upset if she doesn't see you for a little while. She'll kill you if you die. You need to be here Friday morning. And we were here. And that started it. We never left that Friday morning.
And what was the date, that date?
December 16th, 2011.
A lot happened between that date in December and now. We'll pick up the story of Colby's long wait for a heart transplant after the break. Welcome back. By mid-December of last year, Colby was too sick to wait for his heart at home, so he was admitted to Hartford Hospital. Exactly how sick was he? Did he have months to live? Weeks?
It was a matter of days to weeks. When he came in, he was in shock. He was crashing almost in the intensive care unit. But then we were able to stabilize him to a degree and wake up some of the function.
Realizing that I was in a unique situation, I kind of decided to do it just to write ideas down. And I've never been a writer. I'm a science major. I write lab reports, and that's it. People started reading it, enjoying it, and so I kept going. People really read it and get a reality check about why it's so important to be an organ donor, and it really, hits them hard. And a lot of people have signed up and stuff because of it, and that's what I'm really trying to spread, is because that's what helps the most. I remember Christmas being in here, and I remember we got food brought to us from a place, and I'm sitting there watching us eat Christmas dinner, and I'm seeing my sister eating on top of a trash can and my dad standing in the corner. And that's actually what hit the hardest, was seeing, this is what our family is right now,
He reached out to let the family know, whoever it was, that they're in his prayers and he will not let them down.
I really hope you will have the ability to stare down from some sort of heaven and see what good you have done and those you have saved by being an organ donor.
I do a lot of up and back, and sometimes I do and around, and that's all I get. The worst part, if you will, about my disease is that there's no real treatment other than getting a heart, and that requires the passing away of someone else. You know, I'd rather take a bunch of medicines, you know, chemotherapy, you name it, instead of having to rely on the death of another person in order to save my life.
I feel for that family when the time comes, but I also feel that for that family, if the heart is going in my son, they are getting an incredible gift. As Colby will be getting a gift, so will they, because Colby will make them proud.
You know, you don't really think about organ donation and what it means to someone until it's affecting you or your family. And, you know, I ask people to ask themselves, you know, would you be willing to accept an organ if you were dying and needed it? And, you know, who's going to really say no to that? No one. But it's like a lot of people say no, that they haven't signed up to be a donor. And if you'd be willing to receive, you have to be willing to give.
I'm Dr. Patricia Shaner. I'm the Director of Transplant at Hartford Hospital. I think the biggest problem we have is that there's not enough donors to go around. We have patients dying on the list. Liver patients die, heart patients die, people are dying waiting for organs. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions, people are afraid that if I sign my donor card, if I show up, I'm in an accident, I show up in the emergency room, they're going to say, oh, he's a donor, don't take care of him. And that's absolutely incorrect.
I have my rough days and my good days. You caught me on a good day. So me and my friend are actually starting a company. It's actually going to be a company to increase donor awareness. I mean, my goal is to be a doctor, but I guess I could learn about this at the same time. Today's kind of just like a blah day. It's not like it's bad. It's kind of just like, I've been here for over 5 months now. Now that I'm in the record books, can we get me out of here?
This was unusually long waiting time.
They're searching for a heart. They're not going to give you a bad one.
We know that the average waiting time is around 2 to 3 months. So after the 3 months, we got a little worried too that he might not last long enough.
Jeff and I were at the hospital with Colby, and I looked over at Jeff in the chair, and he was starting to fall asleep, and it was like 8:30, 20 of 9. I said, Jeff, let's go home. So Jeff and I got in the car, started driving home on 84. The phone rings, I look at it, it says Colby. I went, oh my God, this is it. Colby's crying on the other end going, Mom, it's here. I go, why? He goes, it's time. They got a heart.
Well, I carry a special phone. 24 hours a day, I get a phone call that notifies me, and in response to that phone call, I log onto a website and saw that it was blood type O, and so I immediately knew it was something that we could use for Colby.
So he called and said, well, I think we got a heart for Colby, and it's nearby. So we reviewed the whole medical condition of the donor, and after everything was clear, we were excited.
So I know we've got almost always 8 to 10 to 12 hours before we'll actually get into the operating room. I went to bed that night excited.
If you like it hazy, hot, and humid, then this is for you. I know some people live for this weather.
I believe it's something we can share.
He was so cheerful.
He was very positive.
Positive as positive can be, honest to God. He did not look scared. I was like, what's going on here? They're gonna go saw your chest open. But I mean, he was fine, and they played some song for him. As he's leaving,
Laying down on the bed.
he yelled to all the nurses that were, everybody was around.
the room waiting for him to
And we were with them, and he just said, I love you all, with his hand up.
I was sad, I was happy, I was scared, I was elated, I was thinking about everything my new life had in store, what the past 24 years had been like, and it was all just at once, and I just laid there and I was like, here we go, chapter 2.
I'm Dr. Robert C. Hagberg, and I'm the Chief of Cardiac Surgery here at Hartford Hospital. I think he was excited, but, wanted to get going, get it over with.
Transplant surgery in general is a team sport. You need a surgeon to harvest the organ as well as a surgeon to sew it in. It takes a little while to prepare the various organs to make them ready to be removed. It got in the operating room about 10:15. The heart is usually what comes out first. There's 5 connections that we have to disconnect. The new heart was removed from the donor at about 11:30 this morning. And you put it in the cooler, pack it up, travel as fast as you can to wherever you're going.
He had procured the heart and he was on his way over to Hartford Hospital, and I progressed more with Colby. You don't want to remove the recipient's native heart until the new heart is in the room, and then it's just a matter of excising the old heart and then sewing the new one in. Parts of the old heart are left behind, and the new heart is sewn to the parts of the old heart.
After we remade all the connections, reestablished all the connections between the heart and the circulation, the last thing we do is remove a clamp that then allows blood for the patient's circulation in the heart-lung machine to get into the circulation of the heart. That's a pretty nice moment. Right now we're closing up the incision, so just finishing up the end of the case. The new heart is in and is working very well.
This couldn't have been a better scenario.
This heart was such a good heart that we didn't even have to restart it. It started itself, so we didn't have to shock it. And that's always a good sign that it's going to come through the ordeal pretty well.
We pick up the amazing story of Colby's recovery in just 1 minute. Stay with us.
Welcome back. When we last left Colby Salerno, he had just had his heart transplant. Let's go back to Hartford Hospital now as his parents see him out of surgery for the very first time.
Keep your arm around me so I know you're holding on there. Okay, there we go. Remember we said you'd be attached to all that stuff. Okay. Okay. That's normal. Okay. See? Oh my God. Okay.
It's a little pale, probably.
Okay. Colby, Mom's here.
I'm my miracle boy. I love you, did it. They said you were fantastic.
You know, you're walking kind of fast. Is this the way you were walking before?
I'm excited. I got this crazy new heartbeat. It's got my blood pumping better than ever, and it gets me going. It's beating strong. It's beating faster than ever, but right now I feel great. Actually, got me on a real good day.
This is the major incision, and these were your chest tubes.
Wires. And then this is the little remnants left of my pacemaker.
First biopsy.
Good. Careful.
I know.
For 24 years, I've had a bad heart, and my body has adapted to that. That's what I found to be normal. And now to have a strong heart that's beating like twice as fast, it feels to you like you would feel no different. To me, it feels insane. It feels like I could feel every beat. When I had gone through this, I had thought so many times, would I feel like someone else's heart was in me? Would I feel changed? Blah, blah. Nope. I woke up and I'm like, I'm me, and I'm just ready to move on. And I can't thank whoever that donor was enough for the gift. Organ donation is a gift unlike anything in this world.
Hold on to me as we go.
So we're looking forward to a second chance on life. And I'm gonna just take it to the fullest. And I can't believe how like the sun feels.
And although this wave is stringing us along,
thank you again, everyone.
just know you're not alone. 'Cause I'm gonna make this place your home. Settle down, it'll all be clear.
Oh, thank you everyone for coming out.
Don't pay no mind to the demons, they fill you with fear. The trouble it might drag you down. You get lost, you can always be found. Just know you're not alone.
Oh my God!
I'm gonna make this
Look at this place. I'm taking my first drive since December 15th, 2011. I don't know, it just feels great to be behind the wheel, you know, get that freedom again. I had a biopsy yesterday, so if they call me and tell me today that one was clean, like the other three, where I'll be having that much better of a day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm Dr. Jim Doherty, and I'm the medical director of the transplant program. We're going to do your right heart biopsy and your right heart pressures.
Yep.
It's something that's done weekly for the first month. Putting an intravenous in the neck week after week is sort of like going to the dentist every week. We have a pipeline into his heart. So through that pipeline, we're going to insert this catheter, which actually has little 3mm teeth on it, and we can take several pieces of his right ventricle from this. Any questions, Colby?
No, I'm all set.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're a star patient, all right?
Try and be. That day was amazing. It was far beyond anything I expected. The Yankees really went above and beyond, not just for me, but for organ donation in particular. They gave out organ donor sign-up cards to every person that walked into the stadium. I've always seen what I'd done is so small. To see it on such a large scale like that was amazing. Hi, Mrs. Skeena.
How are you?
Good, how are you? This is Mrs. Skeena, and I knew her son Greg. Me and him worked together as camp counselors, and we became close over the years doing that. And tragically, Greg passed away in May of 2010, 3 months before I found out that I was going to need a heart transplant.
I think one thing that made Greg so special was his spirit and his love for doing things. He just loved working with kids. And he was a teacher and coached Cheshire football.
Greg saved 5 lives being an organ donor. You know, I only know one side of organ donation. Now for you, it's obviously something completely different. So what's it like for you now?
Well, it was a drunk driver that took our Greg away from us. We got the knock on the door, what every parent, you know, hopes will never happen at 3 o'clock in the morning. It was 1 week until they pronounced him brain dead. The Life Choice people here in Connecticut are absolutely wonderful, wonderful people. They're social workers, they're nurses. So they met with us. Never ever did we feel they pressured us. They were just compassionate and patient and understanding in explaining to us what the process would be. The thought of having him live on in the lives of others, such as you with your heart, was what got us through it.
I feel like my donor is, you know, watching over me, and now I just try and stay healthy and not wreck the gift that I was given.
Exactly. to know that the heart within you is beating and is making you whole and healthy again is just wonderful. It's just wonderful.
Giving this second chance on life, it's like, what do you do with it? And mine is educate and mine is help others. You need to take the gift and treat it like a precious gift.
You make me smile like the sun, fall out of bed, sing like a bird, dizzy in my head, spin like a record, crazy on a Sunday night. You make me dance like a fool, forget how to breathe, shine like gold, buzz like a bee. Just the thought of you can drive me wild. Oh, you make me smile.
In January, Colby heads to Duquesne University in Pittsburgh to complete a bridge program to medical school. And we're certainly rooting for him as he follows his dream to become a cardiologist. So how do you feel about organ donation? The folks at Life Choice are here at the station right now to answer any questions you may have. Give them a call at 1-800-688-WFSB. That's 1-800-688-9372. They'll also be conducting a web chat. Log on to WFSB.com for that. And on our website, you'll find a link where you can sign up to be an organ donor. We want to thank Colby and his family for sharing their story with us, and we want to thank you for watching. Have a good evening.